William Whalen here for GetMoreSports.com. What a regular season it was. That is all wrapped up now. And we're going to take a quick look and award some of our conference awards like Player of the Year and Coach of the Year. Now, we did this preseason and what we thought was going to happen now that we've seen the full slate pull out. We are going to take a look back and award some of our own awards that might be a little bit different from what the conference or the AP awards themselves. So let's dive right into it. Looking at the Pac-12 first, we're going to be moving west-east. My Coach of the Year, without a doubt, has to be Sean Miller. Because, you know what, this team, not only were they somewhat unimpressive in the non-conference at times, they even sometimes looked a little vulnerable in conference, going to Corvallis and losing to Oregon State. Many, like myself, thought Arizona would be challenged by Utah, pardon me for that. And nonetheless, not only do they sweep Utah, they do it in pretty darn impressive fashion, running the Utes out of the building in Tucson and then going into the Huntsman Center and being the only team to win at Utah all year. Other people that were in consideration for this, of course, Larry Kostoyak at Utah, but ultimately they finished third in the conference when they had no excuse not to finish second. Dana Altman, of course, at Oregon, doing a really great job on the court of pulling the Ducks up into second place, but we've talked about why I simply will not award him with the Conference Coach of the Year nomination. Wayne Tinkle at Oregon State as well, doing a great job with the Beavers, but ultimately it's Sean Miller for me. And staying in Tucson, my Player of the Year is TJ McConnell. Without a doubt. I think Joe Young at Oregon is probably the best player in the conference this year, and just in terms of production and the way he affects the game for his team. But TJ McConnell is so important to Arizona. They would not be a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, the number 1 seed in the Pac-12 tournament, back-to-back champions. They would not be any of that without him. So I go TJ McConnell. Looking at the Big 12, Bob Huggins at West Virginia. The Mountaineers picked to finish near the bottom of the conference, and yet they are as competitive as they are, finishing in the top half. I love the job Bob Huggins did. Bill Self certainly in consideration for his performance at Kansas this year as well. My Player of the Year has got to be Georges Niang. I think he's the best player in the conference. Buddy Hield at Oklahoma, of course, wins the conference award, and he was tremendous. I go Georges Niang, my favorite player in the conference, bar none. Big Ten, I've got to go, of course, with Mark Turgeon as Coach of the Year. I love Bo Ryan. I love what Wisconsin did. They're outright champions. You can't deny that. Mark Turgeon, just in my opinion, did the best job in terms of leading this team into the Big Ten and being as dominant and as consistent as they were for much of the time. My Conference Player of the Year is not close. Frank Kaminsky, no one else is even close or remotely close second place. Frank Kaminsky, my Player of the Year in that conference. And then, of course, moving on to the SEC, John Calipari, Coach of the Year, again, not close. Your team is undefeated. You're going to win it. And Willie Cauley-Stein is my Player of the Year in the SEC. He's the most important player on Kentucky. Hasn't always been the most dominant, but he's the most important player, much like TJ McConnell at Arizona. They have similar effects on the game. Looking at the ACC, this one, of course, Coach of the Year is not close in my opinion as well. Tony Bennett at Virginia is the is the Coach of the Year. He had a potential Player of the Year go down in Justin Anderson, and they still found a way to win the conference in the way that they did. Really huge season for the Cavs over there in Virginia. My Player of the Year is Jahlil Okafor of Duke. Jahlil was fantastic this year, dominating offensively inside and helping Duke to what looks like a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Looking at the Big East, really one of the more up and down conferences in terms of who was going to be Player of the Year. Coach of the Year, though, was Jay Wright of Villanova, dominating in conference, absolutely dominating all year, and leading this group of starless Wildcats to a potential number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Extremely impressive job from Coach Wright. Player of the Year is LaDante Hinton of Providence, in my opinion. He's led Providence, of course, him teaming up with Chris Dunn, to be one of the most dangerous teams in the country that I don't think enough people are talking about in terms of their ability to make a run here in the NCAA tournament. But Hinton's going to be my Player of the Year, Wright, my Coach of the Year in the Big East Conference. So those are my awards. Running quickly, east to west, coast to coast, those are my conference award winners for this year. What a conference season. Guys, we are just getting ready for the best part of the year. Put on your seatbelts because it is going to be an absolute roller coaster. This year is going to be wild. Let's do it.